the picks and bans on the screen. It'll be Shrimp Gang in that first pick selection here as well. So they'll be the ones that can kind of force Cyclone to ban out obviously that meta stuff, which I'd like to see them do. Sometimes from these second picks though, we've seen them let that stuff through, Freyr or King Arthur, if they're confident that they've got the counter pick, but you got to make sure you absolutely have it.
Yes, they want the second pick here just to be able to take away most of the high priority picks and bans. So I'm expecting an Arthur ban after this Merlin ban, and probably on the other side, Shrimp Gang is probably going to leave open the Freya if they can, the Freya and the Arthur, to see what Cyclone ban away, and that Shrimp Gang will take the other.
And I think if you're Shrimp Gang, you can feel pretty good giving Zaxi that Freya again after the way he played it for them in Game 1. Xbalanque and Achilles, those make sense as bans to me. I'm a little surprised maybe you might want the Xbalanque for yourself, but there's so many priority picks that maybe they felt like they couldn't narrow it down enough, and they might leave too much on the backswing for Cyclone, is why they're banning away some of these.
Ooh, so look at this. Actually will be the Freya ban. So probably a snap pick of the Arthur for
Let's go, Nickwood.
Shrimp Gang. No hesitation whatsoever. Love the confidence there. I think Nickwood will have a remarkable performance in Game 2.
I think also that he will. Nickwood, one of the members of this team that I think plays with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, you know, sometimes doesn't always get some of the respect he feels he deserves. There's some strong soul laners on console. Wolves comes to mind, Predators as well, but you don't always hear Nickwood's name in there, so you give my man something like King Arthur, and he comes in ready to prove he belongs in that conversation.
Oh, he's up there for sure in that soul lane discussion, but it's now his time to shine. Up against Artio, probably, more often than not, unless they want to do Artio and Camazotz. It's important to relieve some of the early game pressure that Arthur's going to do, so I'm expecting Cyclone to really start playing aggressive in the jungle role. Yarbadka needs to play something that's going to rotate into this lane. Now, without an Achilles available for the execute threshold, maybe lean on the Ao Kuang yet again, trying to mix in magical damage with physical. But if you're going to do Artio and Ao Kuang, then the Arthur can easily get Glad Shield into Genji's guard and just be totally fine.
You'll certainly feel comfortable. Discordia coming through. So I love these two picks. Khepri, obviously a comfort pick for Matt Koiz. Also gives him a safety factor if they do all in the King Arthur and he's around, or one of the carries. And Discordia passive almost certainly is going to be going to Nickwood now on that King Arthur with the way that he'll be battling early on. So even extra damage coming his way.
So I like the Ao Kuang pick, but I would definitely want to see a different soul laner other than the Artio.
Really?
Maybe a Camazotz, because you want to mix in that physical and magical damage to make sure that King Arthur can't just build one way and cover all his options.
Try and punish him for in his build path as Arachne comes out as the ban. I wonder if it's worth, if you're Shrimp Gang, banning the Camazotz here in this situation, just to make sure that they can't pick it and get that strong matchup into the Arthur.
It's possibly worth it, but actually if I'm Arthur and I have a Discordia in my lane, I don't care if I'm against
battling anyway, right?
Yeah, I'm battling anyway. I will be the top player damage by it. It's just spamming all my abilities, so I like this matchup regardless of who Cyclone's up against.
The Erlong Shen band coming out, and this is interesting. Erlong Shen is certainly strong, but we saw this played in support last time with the Khepri picked up. That's likely not going to be going over to Matt Koiz. Jumpa certainly will play this pick, so it is still a good ban, but he'll also play something like Unbots or some other aggressive picks. It's hard to ban him out. Jumpa will play so much.
Especially when Susanoo is still available anyway. Would you rather deal with a Susanoo that he just had a great game in, going, what was it, 7-2-9 in game number 1, now expecting him to not play again in game number 2?
Yeah, good luck.
Never mind.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. He'll play something aggressive like a Bastet, and he'll jump right on top of you. So it's just so difficult to ban him out, but he can even fall back to something like Bastet and feel comfortable, as Camazotz absolutely was selected for Cyclone. So they're going to look for this magical physical split between the Ao Kuang and the Camazotz, and someone who could sustain a matchup with Arthur. They've got the pieces.
Yeah, logically it makes a lot of sense to be able to spread that out, as the Vulcan will be the last pick for Cyclone, so wrap things up. And it's a really weird composition for Cyclone if I'm thinking about it, because where do they really come online? It's got to be in that mid-game presence, because right now I'm looking at the early game, and I'm not in love with it.
Even the back end of the mid-game, it feels like to me. Not quite late, but towards the back end of it. I get what you're saying. It really does feel like they might struggle for some of this early pressure, and they don't have a ton of control either, so I don't know where the setup is. We'll certainly have to see, though. Shrimp Gang up against Cyclone, game number 2. Let's get it over to Tom and Hindu, the old-school pairing.
Thanks a lot, boys.
I feel old.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Monday and I'm still doing console? Yeah, I feel old. Still going on.
Shrimp Gang versus Cyclone here. We'll see how this game number 2 works. Tom and Hindu on the cast.
Yeah, I do want to point out as well, I did not realize how many roster changes Cyclone have had since the previous weeks, but like Overgrown in the mid lane instead of original Spawn, there's a few names that are missing off this roster that got number 2 so far. And I think that's why we're seeing a little bit more of a one-sided affair than I'd expect between the number 1 and 2 seeds over on the sticks.
For sure. But at the same time, you know, you have a legacy to hold up. Like to see these teams perform a little bit better. Cyclone here already off to a better start than last time. Bodilla starting in lane instead of a different invade type strategy here on the RDO.
Definitely going to end up losing a bit of blade pressure against the Khepri in the early game. Khepri can put out quite a bit with that blessing just to buff your minions as well as yourself and your teammates too.
Sure, yep. Certainly going to work both ways there.
That call, though, was quite surprising to see him just go for the babies and then straight back to lane to try and clear. Because obviously the second wave, you will hit level 2 normally. So Benjaru and Bodilla should hit level 2 off this.
Right, and it's a little bit less about, you get less experience for the invaded camps as well. So what they're doing there is now they're just stripping the experience away from the opposition. Less about getting it themselves and more about taking care of things.
Oh, but this could be Cyclone making a mistake here looking for an invade. I thought maybe we'll see Ranjaru and Bodilla go for the purple, but instead they'll just take away the oracles instead. Because at first I thought they were going to look for the invade of the purple buff, but that would have been the same time as Jumper and Kovi would have been over around the red buff area. Could have caused them a lot of problems. Instead, they'll just accept the difference there. Taking the oracles over their own purple, though, has hurt them, because now there could be a fight over the purple, which they'll probably end up having to lose or choose the wave instead.
Yeah, we see Cyclone already shading towards a safer option.
Yeah, I don't think the oracles is the right call there from Cyclone more than anything. So they go straight to their own purple, they secure it. Instead, they lose more. Bodilla loses a massive amount now. Most of that wave was lost too.
That's the big deal, is understanding that, sure, you have some of the vision that you might not have had, but Gold Fury hasn't even spawned yet, so who cares? Maybe you're looking for a jungle rotation. Those oracles will catch you out there if Cyclone want to play aggressive, but I don't know if they have the composition to do that at all.
I think what Tolly was saying on the desk is quite important, though. That where does this composition really shine from Cyclone? It's kind of all over the place, in my opinion. Leaning a little bit more to mid to late game overall. Especially when you look at the lineup Shrimp Gang has. I mean, looking late game, Kovi can do a hell of a lot of damage if you can get a full combo off, obviously. That's what Discordia will bring. But then it's on Zaxi most of the pressure in terms of trying to bring the late game home for Shrimp Gang if they need it. Oof.
Kamazad's losing out here in the solo lane, and again, I think it's
sprint.
What you're used to. The sprint going to be popped here, but ultimately I think players will be fine. I think it's what you're used to. Again, how last time around Bodilla in the jungle couldn't really pull off the harass strat. Wasn't really there. I'm worried about this Kamazats. It is a King Arthur counter, hard quote, end quote, on paper. But piloting it is so very different.
Oh, nice little pull from Koi's, and that'll be first blood for Bodilla. That was right on the tip, too. Just inside, at the edge of the tower range, not inside the tower range to take the damage from the tower. Really nicely done.
Really, really
But they shouldn't be grouping up like that, too. There's a one thing to note. You know, you're trying to stay safe. You're trying to make sure you support your teammate. But if you're against a Najjar, for example, you don't stand close because of a ring toss. Same could be said for against a Khepri. You can't be grouping up like that.
Exactly. That's just poor positioning that we'll see the team fix as time goes on, I'm sure.
Going back to your Kamazats, though, Kamazats overall, everyone says he's a counter. He's not a counter, he's just a survivor. That's what he is. He survives the encounter with the King Arthur because he can re-sustain. That's all it is.
I'll take that away and say RDO strikes me as a survivor. RDO shuts down some of the abilities and kind of hangs on for dear life, whereas a Kamazat's played well can actually just beat up the King Arthur.
This fight going on here is Bodilla taking on a little bit of Matt Koi's, but it's a rotation from Jumper. And Kovi, you've got to be a little bit more aware of. Under the tower, Bodilla's at level 3, going to go down to the kitty cats.
Dots!
Those cats in the early game, man, they live a lot longer than you expect, and they do a ton of damage.
And also just the raw damage output coming out from Bastet, Razor Claws, Razor Whip, just such a powerful ability. 100% scaling on those abilities as well, so really, really scary stuff.
Well, wait, Tom, that's not 100%, that's at 25%.
Well, it's ×4 because it ticks every single second, and it takes 4 seconds.
Do you know mathematics?
Debatable.
Yeah, I thought so too, but then you just proved yourself that you did. I was like, wow. But yeah, the one thing you're going to realize as this game goes on is I don't know where Cyclone's going to find a lead. That's the biggest problem. I mean, you look at the solo lane, it's Kamazats versus an Arthur. Arthur's going to just continue to farm up. Same can be said for him. Yarberg Kid was trying to get some farm on that left-hand side there by getting the purple buff for his own team. But he may have to find a window soon to find a win, or maybe Overgrown in the mid lane, because at the moment, Joe lane is still struggling.
lot of that has to do with Matt Coys. I like, again, how he's showing us two separate versions. Game number 1, bringing out the extremely aggressive Arlong Shen. Game number 2, kind of the opposite in the backline. Kempery just looking for roots and peels, and already a nice start here. 2 kills, and he's got 2 assists.
Man, this comes from Shrimp Gang overall, though. I mean, they're just the players on this team. You've seen them around in the console leagues for a while. Now, mainly on the PlayStation side, they really found their stride, so to speak. On PlayStation, at least. But we'll see what they can do, you know, going forward, because they will get a chance to play against some of the Xbox kids eventually.
Yep, we will see the
in
clash.
the future.
We'll see the clash of the consoles at some point. For now, Liquid on King Arthur, just doing what he can against the Batman. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Now, Bad Kid's going to make the rotation, though. And this could be a problem. He is caught out on the mid ward there.
Yeah, 2 wards on that right-hand side, I should say, at the same time. But Matt Koiza went for the abduct, but Bodilla had the cripple field down in time. It will stop him getting pulled, but it won't stop the purple being invaded on that left-hand side.
Yeah, it's going to be a big fight. Ultimate out of
This
Vulcan
might,
just completely misses, but Zaxi won't. Overgrown, overkilled. And there's a double pounce coming out. That should be big damage from Bastet. Bastet gets 1, Kobe gets the other. And Shrimp Gang.
There was nothing, no worry on Shrimp Gang whatsoever there. McCoy's had his ultimate the entire time in case it was required, but it wasn't. The ultimate came out from Overgrown, which looked nicely placed if the purple was being taken, but it wasn't. Wall coverage was good enough for Shrimp Gang to know exactly what was going on.
Easy peasy. 5-0.
And that's the credit I've got to give to Shrimp Gang, though. Yes, 5-0, but look at the wards on the map.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. They're making sure that even though they've got a lead, they're investing that gold to get a bigger return later on by finding more picks and keeping the pressure rolling.
I mean, that's what I was saying. I was on the desk just before with Aggro, and we were talking about the team that played Jorm Jungle. And
Ricardo, right?
Yeah, Team Ricardo. And
I thought they had a T in the name somewhere, but they don't.
They had 2 players in New English, always thinking about T. They had 1 player with 0 wards placed, and they had another player with 1 ward placed.
A hunter and a solo, right?
Yeah, and a jungler specifically.
Oh, a jungler too?
And that's the ward vision at a high level is what separates good teams from great teams. I mean, look at this. There is a solid line at the 25-yard line, if you want to use Americanism, right? There's just this line at the enemy red buff of blue wards. And that's so that Shrimp Gang can go wherever the hell they want because they know where everyone is.
And the big key is the fact that you can only carry 2 wards yourself, right? So everybody's got to at least place 1 of those down to make it effective. Even if you've got 2 people placing 2s, that's where you're at here.
Sure.
But it's also the chance of the Oracle for Jumper. It's not something you see all the time on junglers, but if you've got a spare 400 Gs and you don't mind delaying your build a little bit by going for this, consistent wards time and time again, it will add up if you can get those wards placed. Renjaro really wishes he had a ward right now to have seen that rotation coming in, because that's going to cost him his ultimate.
There's the ultimate in the solo lane as well. King Arthur going to take on 2 players at the moment and dodge just a lot of what's coming out from Bad Kid. And big damage underneath the tower, not going to be the case.
While all this time Niquid's wasting their time, delaying their backs, left-hand side is still being pressured by Shrimp Gang. All the while, Niquid is 2v1 in here.
Yeah, and this is not an Arthur problem. You need to hit your abilities, friends, and Cyclone is not doing that. Arthur just...
And you're right. It doesn't matter who was in that lane. As long as he survives that could have been a Terror, that could have been a Geb. Doesn't really matter, right? All his job is to try and delay the back from the jungler and the rotation to this left-hand side where the tier 1 has already fallen. And now the tier 2 is pressured. Could be a Gold Fury attempt next up.
I'd like to see the Gold Fury, both because Overgrown has shown to be a little bit aggressive. And if Kobe is able to get a kill here, looks like he won't be. That would be the nail in the coffin for the Gold Fury. But because Kobe is unable to confirm the kill, I think we see the team stutter step and look for the red instead.
Timing worked out well, though, for Kobe. You saw him dash aggressive, so you knew as soon as he dashes there as a Discordia, he's going to look for a play. Drops the apple, gets the pressure onto Overgrown, which creates a window to take the pressure onto tier 1, but more importantly, the red, as you said.
All-out aggression. Coming out here from Shrimp Gang, right side, no exception to the rule either. Jabami trying to deal with what's coming out of Niquid, but Niquid's been so powerful, it's just a little bit tough. Here comes Zaxi with the dive.
And there goes...
Won't be enough to kill, but it will be enough to keep him in control.
Exactly. There's enough for Renjaro to go back to base, and that's a whole wave of minions going in that he's not going to get any experience for. Bodilla trying to just get in towards the experience more than anything else, zone them away. Won't happen, unfortunately. And this is what I'm saying about this roster changing up for Cyclone, you know? Like, having roster changes, it makes it very tricky to get all on the same page in time.
Sure.
Especially when you're going to take on one of the best teams in the league, you know?
I mean, sometimes I feel like we overuse the word synergy, but really how a team comes together and plays as a unit is the difference maker in competitive gaming. Like, you can come out here and all these guys on Cyclone, I'm sure, are very strong in their own right. But when you come together as a unit, you've got to be able to play all the, you got to read between the lines, you got to play all the other things, and that's what we see out of Shrimp Gang and not out of Cyclone right now.
Clearly individually talented enough to be warranting the spot
Yeah,
on the
of course.
team, right? But
Yeah.
then you've got to try and combine that together. And if you're all on different pages or one lane struggles and maybe your shot caller doesn't speak anymore, who knows? Renjaru having to use the ult again. Zaxy's really just potently dominating this now with that 3-level lead.
Yeah.
And Bodilla also 3 levels down on Matt Coys. Dual lane has fallen apart again. And there's been no sign, funny enough, of Yardbird Kid trying to pressure this to try and answer it back at all.
Which is interesting because that I would like to see. I would like to see the Yao Kwang over there on the dual lane side.
Especially because Capri can't do anything about it. I mean,
Yep.
the ultimate comes through, it doesn't work against an Al Kwang, so why not try and pressure this lane?
It again just looks like unfamiliarity, and we'll see kind of how it bodes going forward. But the red buff about to respawn, and Shrimp Gang one more time find themselves stealing the enemy red buff.
It does feel like Cyclone just lack the confidence to want to take on Shrimp Gang in these fights. They're like, okay, we expect to lose to Shrimp Gang. We're going to try and hope they make mistakes and capitalize on them. But Shrimp Gang haven't really given me enough of a window to do that. Every single time there has been a chance of a kill, it's not resulted in anything more than that. There's been no objectives. There's been no chance for
Right.
towers. It's not been doom and gloom.
That's why Shrimp Gang only have a 5,000 gold lead. This could definitely be a lot higher. We've seen a number of Totem of Coups go their way as well, so about 700 gold
That's a lot.
for that. But no Gold Fury, no big objective outside of the total.
And that's what I don't understand. If Shrimp Gang's losing the dual lane, why are they not winning the Totemaku then? Like, why have we not got the Al Kwang pressure in there to try and answer that back a little
Where
bit? You know?
is the jungle help?
Well, they needed a lead. We were saying that their composition needed a lead somewhere, but no one's really found one. Overgrown in the mid lane, fallen just that once, but he's got a full stack buck of tough, so at least the Vulcan ultimates will be hurting a fair bit. No penetration just yet, however.
12:30 on the clock. Shrimp Gang significantly in the lead.
gonna say.
5-zip.
It's 3:12, not 12:30.
Well, it's 12:30 on the in-game. Well, that was 12:42. 12:43. Well, that was 12:44.
Your mathematics are
12:45.
really working out well today.
Hey, man, I'm a numbers guy.
Stole the red buff. It's the first exciting thing I've got to say about Cyclone all day. I may have just spoken too soon because now Yarbird's on the run and the whole squad looks like they may give chase. Apple off the wall. He banked it.
No way.
Oh, that was on target, man. That was on target.
I was rooting for it.
Me too. Me too. I would have been like, yes, that's a play. Now it's kidding time. This is another benefit of having a Bastet, by the way. Gold Furies. They'll tank it for you. Why not?
And they do a tremendous amount of damage. Shrimp Gang again with the Gold Fury.
It's
Players
not
from
fair, man.
Cyclone sneaking in.
Odin can't put a ring near the Gold Fury because the Gold Fury would destroy it, but Kitty Cat's no problem, you know? It's not fair. Make Odin ring great again. You pulled a FaceTime, we can't see that.
Odin Ring and cats, I'm not seeing the connection.
It's because they're both like technically like things that are you use around the Gold Fury for securing it,
Okay.
right? But
So
you hit
why should the
Odin rings,
cats?
though. Because cats should like despawn to the Gold Fury too, right?
Why?
Well, Odin ring does.
Odin Ring is a doodad. It's not
A doodad.
It's a doodad.
What's a doodad?
A doodad is a thing.
That's an ultimate from Niquid right now onto Overgrown, who's forced out. Didn't use his beads or Aegis. Cyclone did get the Pyromancer. It's the first time we've had to say something good about them, but it's about to turn again. As Niquid just got left against Overgrown, who didn't use his beads during the ultimate. Expected some form of backup. Didn't get it, and instead, he gets a fast trip back to base.
And the fight after the fact sends the Batman to the sky. Cyclone will be forced to regen. The Fire Giant still safely alive.
It's the first time that we've seen Cyclone actually group and do something in response to Shrimp Gang having this lead.
Sure.
They lost a Gold Fury, they rotate straight to a Pyro to try and answer that back. Standard stuff. The problem is the whole team's not on the same page. Left-hand side, Renjaru's trying to farm up. They lose a tier 1 in mid and a tier 1 in right at the same time. Disaster.
Well, now it looks like trying to be... Somebody hit him! The cats come out to take care of the bat. And lucky number 7 ticked up for Shrimp Gang there.
Those cats just sat there and drank out of Kamazot's pool is what happened.
That's gross.
Why is that gross?
Are you just like...
Kama does it.
Yeah, but that's like specially made for him.
Why could the cats not drink it?
Well, I mean, there's a number of things that animals can't have. You know, like dogs can't have grapes.
Can they not?
Yeah, dogs can't have grapes.
How
It's
come?
toxic for them.
I didn't know that.
Dogs can't have chocolate.
Yeah, I knew that.
Dogs can't eat chocolate.
I knew that, but my grandmother definitely taught me otherwise.
That's so bad.
I know, but I didn't know that at the time. You know,
Yeah,
now I'm growing up, I'm like, wow, Gran, that was kind of mean.
Yeah, they can't have chocolate or grapes. It hurts them. Some
Ah.
cats are like the same. They can't have Camazot's juice.
Oh, so but they can have chocolate and grapes.
I don't know.
Someone will let us know, I'm sure.
Well, I
It'll happen.
only I've only known a handful of cats in my life, to be honest with you.
All right, let's see how good Arthur is, shall we? I've not seen this happen yet.
All right. Well, he's going to deal some damage. Use the ultimate to buy some time, and then here's the rest of his squad.
Only 3. Then became 4.
Yeah, all right. Fire Giant still not started yet.
Cyclone have definitely got some homework to do. The best news about taking on Shrimp Gang this week, sure, they're not confident in winning this one, clearly by the way they're playing, but the one thing they're going to get to learn is what their biggest issues are and how to correct them quickly.
Oof. That's going to be a big issue. Overgrown gets overpowered. And XQV. Covey, I'm sorry.
Did you call him XQV?
I called him XQV.
That's Kobe.
I've been casting Kobe since season 2. I'm sorry.
It's one of those days. It's one of those days for Cyclone
it
too
really
right now.
is.
Still not found a kill in this one. The biggest thing, I'm looking for somebody where I'm like, okay, where's the hope? Where's the hope? Maybe it's this Fire Giant, maybe it's Ranjaru right now.
Well, here's the hope
Here
right
we go.
now. Shrimp King trying to confirm.
Go on in.
Cyclone are still here.
Hold
Kobe
on.
gets the Fire Giant. And meanwhile, the bat on the way out. There's a grab.
He's still
Missed.
dead. Has he got Blink? No, he's not. Oh, they got to let him go. Okay. But meanwhile, they'll still keep pushing the right hand side in a 4v5.
Ao Kwang is getting a purple buff.
He's still a level down. It's rough. This is a rough game to watch from Cyclone's point of view after how the season went so far for them. Shrimp Gang will be very happy, though, continuing to stay top. And now, with how this is looking, Tom, they're going to end up defeating every single team in the league with them twice in back-to-back succession.
They just might. Ao Kwang finally now back in the fray.
I mean, what can he do with 2 members down, though, right?
No. And listen, I'm down, you know, and I won't go full in because I do know that this is a newer roster, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But there's one thing, Shrimp Gang has kind of outplayed Cyclone in a number of positions, and then there's doing the purple buff while you're getting Phoenix Sieged. That's just incorrect.
Yeah.
That is not what you need to be doing if you are at this level of play. And I feel justified in being aggressive about that.
Did you not hear when I said bad? It's because he's your bad kid. I'm really smart, right? You didn't like it?
I don't like that.
If that was you doing that, you would have laughed for about a week. Be honest.
Well, yeah, because it's me, and it's when it comes down to comedy, it's about the delivery.
Oh, right, okay. So me going over the delivery doesn't help. Makes it worse, right?
You sound like Ryan.
Like Ryan? That's really offensive.
I know.
You take that back.
I won't.
You take that back now.
I won't.
You take that back before I call you Finch.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, how you like it? Half.
Well, hey, it's me, Finch. I love Fallout Boy.
He does love Fallout Boy. You're not wrong about that. He talks about it way too much. Mid lane, though, Jumper going to get aggressive on a bear with the kiddies. And the kiddies are beating the bear right now. And the kiddies are going to kill the bear because everybody just watched it happen. The rest of the squad were nearby. But I guess they didn't expect him to do as much damage as he did.
You really like the animal interactions.
I do.
You like to talk about the bees and the elephants when Ganesh
And the
is being
birds,
played.
yeah.
We don't. Do we have birds? We have Thoth guy.
Jingwei's a bird.
Jingwei is a
She became a bird?
bird-human centaur.
What part of Jingwei's a centaur?
No, like she's a combination bird-human.
And where was the centaur bit come
Well, a
from?
centaur is a combination horse-human.
Right?
You know what? A centaur keeps the horses in the bag. You like that one?
No.
That was good.
Centaur keeps the horses in the back?
Yeah. Oh, have you missed that whole thing?
Maybe I have.
Oh,
Am I
dear
supposed
Lord.
to follow that thing?
I don't know how to. We don't have enough time for me to get you up on pop culture right now, Hindi Man.
We don't, because, like, I mean, Cyclone might get a kill by the time that happens.
I'm not sure. I think it's more likely that Shrimp Gang are able to close this one out under 25 minutes again. The right side of the mid lane, Phoenix are down. The left side, Phoenix is the only one alive. There's the Camazotz being grabbed, but nothing off of the damage. Meanwhile, bang!
Touchdown.
Nothing.
Not enough damage at all. Meanwhile, on the back of that fight, look at the ultimate out from Niquid that traps in Your Bad Kid. And Bodilla will follow it up. And this could be game already. You're right, Tom. No kills for them.
7-0-7 for the
Brutal.
jungler. 5-0-6 for the hunter. 1-0-10. And it's 17-0. Shrimp Gang take the victory in 2 games.
Not gonna lie, I've been around quite a while, man, you Tom, and I don't think I've ever seen an affair that was as one-sided as that across 2 games.
A little bit rough there. Cyclone, as we said, definitely have to adjust to their new team, the new roster. There's a bunch of jobs to be given. But at the end of the day, I definitely saw some things that just can't happen at this level of play.
Best advice for me for Cyclone, go into an assault game, practice team fights, because you didn't have one.
To the desk.
Thanks, Tom, for throwing it to us. Here on the desk, where Shrimp Gang grabbed a 2-0. And there's about as matter-of-fact a thing as I've ever seen, Totally. What was it that that really separated them in that second game?
Well, outside of their just individual talent levels, it was a lot of the draft as well. It was more of a mid to late game draft between Cyclone.
For Cyclone, yes.
And Shrimp Gang just got off to a great start yet again in the duo lane. I think Matt Koi's Zaxi synergy really showing off there. They're getting off the poke like a beautiful double root, by the way. Can we talk about that real quick? As Zaxi just follows up with a persistent gust. Nothing that really Bodilla can do when he has the sprint, not even a shell available to get that extra health pool.
This was a big set for Matt Koiz, at least from where I was sitting. He played very, very well. Then you factor in Jumpa in the second game on this Bastet, and you start to see how quickly things can get out of control for Cyclone when everyone's playing this well. We saw him going behind Tier 1 towers, constantly pressuring out Cyclone. Totally, they never had room to breathe.
No, they definitely didn't. And I like the Bastet pick actually out of Jumpa because it counters Yar Bad Kid on the Ao Kuang if you think about it. Water Illusion comes out providing the stealth for Ao Kuang, but if you get the scratches off, you get the reveal off. So with that damage over time, it makes a lot of sense.
And we talked about it before the game. You take this Camazotz into lane to try and match up against King Arthur, and then the Ao Kuang magical damage to maybe get an execute and punish the build path that the King Arthur has to go on. Except it never came to fruition.
No, it didn't. I would have liked to see Artio in the solo lane pick up maybe a Thanatos for Yar Bad Kid and have a different kind of support instead of even drafting the Camazotz. So that way there could be a little bit more easier time, because Thanatos is a great early game pick. I think that Ao Kuang is great, God, don't get me wrong, but it's more of a late game focus. And when you're dealing with Shrimp Gang, if you don't get off to an early game start, you're not even making it to that late game, closing it out in like 20 minutes game 2.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They never really were able to compete with them over those buff camps early on and those 2v2, 3v3 skirmishes. They couldn't hang in those either. And for what it's worth, the Camazotz didn't really affect Niquid at all. I think he built Blackthorn third item instead of maybe a dedicated physical protection item. That HP was way more than enough for him, paired with the sustain from Glad Shield, so things never really were looking that good for Cyclone. Let's go ahead and take a look at those standings for PS4 North America, where everybody's shaking out.
And Shrimp Gang continuing their dominance, no surprise there. And despite Cyclone finding a 2-1 on week 3, rather, they couldn't get a single game in this best-of-3 set in week number 6.
Yeah, to be fair, it feels almost like an entirely different team than the one that did see some success earlier, so it's hard to hold to those standards. But you're right, some struggles there from them. Big money right beneath them, and of course, Benedict's Calvary all the way down at the bottom. So PS4 NA still looking pretty tied up by Shrimp Gang, but starting to get a bit of a stack down there beneath them to see who can be the one that's in second place and at least getting close to contest.
It's close. It really is in the middle of the pack teams, but what's really starting to show is the top teams between all these regions, whether it's PS4 NA, whether it's Xbox EU, but we got some Xbox NA next.
That's right, Xbox not too far away, so stick around with us. We're going to get everything ready for that last set, and then we'll be right back with you.